The definition of warrior leadership is, I have found my purpose in the world. I have learned how to bring my purpose to others. I am living my purpose, leaving nothing on the table, nothing untried, living my someday goals as now. Welcome to the Warriors at Work podcast, hosted by Jennifer Balcom, president of E9 Corporate Coaching, where we help you become a warrior at work so that you get to fully live.
Hey everyone, today is the 6th in the series that we're doing this week called Staying Engaged in Work During a Crisis. And today we're talking about if I were brave, I would. Now I realize that some of you are brave and some of you consider yourselves to be brave. And I'm not saying that you're not. And in the moment, in the midst of what's currently going on, it's easy to lose track of our ability to be brave. It's easy to move to a different place. And what I am doing is calling us all back to being what we talk about in the first course, our warrior selves. We talked a little bit in the 4th episode this week about finding your warrior state. So we're starting with giving everyone grace. That's what we started the first podcast episode with, which means everyone gets some grace. This includes the woman who picks up the phone when I call my plumber 3 times to try to make an appointment and keep not getting a call back. And she is snippy to me on the phone. She gets some grace right now because she's going through whatever she's going through. It includes the guy in the big, huge black truck that pulled up and was sort of belligerent to me through the window. He gets some grace right now because he's going through whatever he's going through. And then we're going to shift from fear to fact so that we're managing the details of our lives and not coming from a place of fear. Then we talked about how to stop knowing how things are going to go in order to leave room for multiple possibilities and perspectives about how things are going to go now. And then we talked about finding your warrior state and how to begin to live as your warrior self. Yesterday, we talked about the secret to supercharging your results is adding structure to your day, because a lot of us need a little bit of extra structure right now because our lives are different than they usually are. The other thing we talked about yesterday that is important is if you're in a quiet place, if you're in a contemplative place, if you are in a freaked out place, take time to have whatever emotions it is that you're having. I am not suggesting otherwise. I'm not suggesting being in denial in order to be in your warrior state. What I'm suggesting is moving through your emotions in order to get to your warrior state on the other side. So give yourself some time, as we discussed over the last couple podcasts, to move through whatever it is you need to move through, but give yourself a deadline so you don't get stuck there, so that you get out of whatever place you're in of worrying about things and freaking out about things or stressing about things, and get to your warrior state so that you can be in action. And today we're talking about if I were brave, I would. Well, here's what I love about this sentence. It came to me accidentally, and I've used it with my clients, and it is amazing the results that it produces, because what happens is when we say that first half of the sentence to ourselves, our brain fills in the rest. And our brain usually fills in the rest with whatever the thing is that we really don't want to do, with whatever the thing is that we think we're not ready to do, with whatever the thing is that we're a little afraid of doing, or concerned about doing, or have a story in our head about doing. If you say the first half of that sentence, it won't happen, I don't think, when I say it to you. So listening to me say, if I were brave, I would, won't trigger this in your head. If you say it to yourself, your brain will likely fill in the rest. And I'm not suggesting that you do this in a moment that you're busy, that you're thinking about 50 things at once. You have to do it in a moment that you can actually wait for 10 seconds and see what your brain fills in at the end of that sentence. I would suggest you start doing this multiple times a day. I would suggest you start doing this every day of the week, because you will catch yourself either not being your brave self or you will catch yourself avoiding something that you could do, that you would like to do, but that you aren't doing. And this is why this sentence is so effective, especially if we do it several times a day, so that we can check in at different points of the day. And at first, it's possible that you may come up with things that are small. That you may come up with things relative to the conversation you just had like 5 minutes ago. And it's also possible that the more you do this, especially if you do it in quieter moments, if you do it in the evening, if you do it when you first wake up in the morning, if you do it before anything else is on your mind, your subconscious will talk to you. Your subconscious will fill in the rest of that sentence before you can even think. Before your conscience can come up with an answer to that, your subconscious will. It's possible that when you read the title of this podcast for today, that the same thing might have happened. It's possible that your brain already came up with something. And the reason that matters is because whatever that thing is likely to be the thing that will compel you and grip you if you were to take it on as a project that we've been talking about for all of this podcast series. So if you are still trying to find something that you might want to take on as a project because you haven't quite found that thing yet that compels you and grips you, this sentence will help you get there. As you write down projects that you think you might like to do, as you write down things that you've put off, as you make a list or look at your list that already exists of things you wish you could do if you had time, someday when you retire, when your kids are out of the house, when you have enough money, whatever that list is, if you start looking at that list and then also throughout the day asking yourself, saying to yourself, if I were brave, I would, your brain, your conscious, and your subconscious will start answering you. And it may be related to that list, or it may be the thing that didn't even occur to you but put on that list because it's too big. So if you haven't found yet what the thing is that will grip you and compel you that you need to be doing during this time to create positivity in your life, use this sentence. If I were brave, I would. And here's what's really important about what's going on right now. Now, I'm going to take a minute to not talk about how bad everything is that's going on right now. And if you're in a place of having lots of emotion about what's going on right now, know that I understand. I've had that from time to time. And I also move through it in order to be in my warrior state. And so if you're in that place, you may not be able to hear what I'm about to say. So you may want to wait until you are ready, until you have moved through whatever it is you need to move through, and you're ready to be in your warrior state to listen to what I'm about to say, which is, right now, the state of the world is a giant opportunity. It is a once in a lifetime for most of us, hopefully it was a once in a lifetime for most of us, enormous, unequaled opportunity to learn, to practice how to be in our warrior state in any condition. All the rest of the time that we are living our lives and aiming to be in our warrior state, we will never be able to achieve this level of intensity about it. We will never be able to achieve this level of purpose because the whole world needs us right now. And so I encourage you to make sure that you move through whatever those emotions are that you need to deal with them and get to the warrior state on the other side. Because you will never forget yourself for having achieved that right now during what we're going through. Right now, you should be waking up every morning and saying to yourself, if I can do this right now, I can do this anytime. If I can manage to perform at work right now, I can manage to perform anytime. If I can be present for my kids and my significant other right now, I can manage to do this anytime, under any conditions, for the rest of my life. If I can manage to find financial stability right now, I can do this any time, any day for the rest of my life, because I will never confront anything that is challenging as what the world is going through right now. There is an opportunity to develop an intense, enormous knowing of yourself, to handle things, to be in your warrior state no matter what is going on, to deal with what you have to deal with, have emotions, have the freak out, and emerge on the other side. To get in action, to help people, to live your life, to be out there, and to give yourself grace when you can't. And know when you wake up in the morning if it's a day that it's just not going to happen that day. And then move through it and get to the other side. We will never have an opportunity like this, I hope, ever again in our lifetimes. To figure out, how do we operate when the world needs everything from us? Your team needs you at work. If you manage people, the people you're managing need you. The people you live with at home need you. Your extended family needs you. Your friends need you. Everybody needs you to show up right now. And also, as we've talked about in this series, to take care of yourself so that you can show up right now. I recently found myself walking into my kitchen to cook dinner and realized it was midnight. I have never in my life cooked dinner at midnight. And there are two things about it that were amazing. One is that I had no idea that I had been working until 11:30 at night. There was so much to be done. And I got up and I thought, oh, I'm hungry, I should go eat. And I looked at the clock and just did a double take, because I had been so busy all day doing things that I wanted to bring to the world right now. And second, because the way that we're living right now with all of us in our homes actually provides more flexibility. And I know for some of you who have a million people living in your house with you and you're managing everyone's schedules, it doesn't feel like you have more flexibility. But we have more flexibility because we are not going into the office every day. We are not subject to our usual routine. We're not picking up dry cleaning. We're not commuting to and from work. And I suddenly found myself with the ability to make dinner at midnight. And more importantly, I found myself with the ability to work until 11:30 on something that I loved, that is important, that I needed to bring to the world. This is an opportunity that we may never have again. I encourage you to give everyone grace. Shift from fear to fact. Stop knowing how this is going to go, that it's going to be bad, that it's going to be hard. Shift to a place of not knowing, to allow for possibilities and perspectives. Find your warrior state so that you are not just fine, so that you are on fire and in action. Find the thing that compels you, that draws you in, that creates positivity in your life, that gives you something to be in action about, whether it's at work or not at work. Create structure as needed in order to be getting these things done right now. Feel whatever it is that needs to be felt. Take the time to do that. Move through it, to be in your warrior state. And 3 times a day or 10 times a day, say to yourself when you wake up in the morning and before you go to bed at night, if I were brave, I would. Even for those of us that are brave, there's more there. And in fact, I spend months talking about this in my online course series, because even when we think we're being our highest and best selves, it's based on what we've experienced up until this point. And there's more. So even if you are usually brave, the more you say to yourself, if I were brave, I would, the more your subconscious will come up with. And the more you will find ways not only to be compelled and drawn into something that will create positivity for your life, but the more you will be compelled and drawn into helping the world right now, into getting out there and into doing what it is that you know how to do that will help. The next episode is in a week. Practice these things this week. Be brave. Be in your warrior state. Have a great week. I'll talk to you then. If you are ready to become a warrior at work so that you get to fully live, I'm inviting you to join our Warriors at Work program, where you'll identify your warrior self, find your warrior purpose, develop your warrior squad, and start living as a warrior leader using the E9 corporate coaching model that I developed after years of coaching and managing people. It's risk-free. If you fully engage and do the work and don't feel like it's working for you, I'll give you your money back. You can join just the first course or the whole series of 7 courses. Go to warriors-at-work.com to sign up. I'll see you there.